Let me tell you about two guys. We'll call them Troy and Chad. They went to the same state school, graduated with the exact same engineering degrees, and got jobs at competing firms in the same city, making within $5,000 of each other. Today, both are 37 years old, both are married, and both have kids. From the outside, their lives look totally identical, but there's one massive difference. Troy drives a 2024 Ford F-150 Lariat with a $1,000 monthly payment. Chad drives a 2020 Toyota Camry that he bought used 3 years ago, and he fully paid it off last spring. Here is the financial reality of that single choice. Troy has $14,000 in his 401k. Chad has $340,000. Same income, same start, different car. That is it. Today, we're exposing what I call the new car penalty. We're not just talking about the sticker price. We're talking about the full system, the financing math, the depreciation cliff, the dealership tactics, and the quiet decision most people make in their 20s that literally determines whether they retire at 60 or 72. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how Troy got trapped and how you can make sure you end up like Chad. The math. How did we get here? To understand the trap, you have to understand the market. In 1995, the average new car in America cost about $20,000. Today, it has crossed the $50,000 mark, and the average new full-size pickup is selling for over $66,000. That is not a car, that is a mortgage with cup holders. Meanwhile, a lightly used 3-year-old vehicle sits around $30,000. That's a $20,000 gap. 20 grand isn't a rounding error. That's a down payment on a house, a fully funded emergency fund, or 2 years of college tuition for your kid. But here is the part that should make you highly suspicious. Loan terms have stretched at the exact same pace as prices. Remember when a car loan was 3 years? Today, the average new car loan is nearly 70 months. 1 in 5 new car buyers is now signing an 84-month loan. That's 7 years. The auto industry invented 7- and 8-year loans for one simple reason. Nobody could afford 5-year loans anymore. This isn't a market, it's a financial treadmill. Now, you might say, but wait, used car loans have way higher interest rates. You're right. Used car loans average around 11% right now, compared to 6% for new cars. Banks charge a premium because the collateral is older. But guess what? 11% interest on $27,000 is still less total interest than 6% on $43,000 over the same period. The used car buyer still wins. They just don't win by as much as the dealership wants you to think. The actual monthly payment difference is usually around $230. Keep that number in mind. It's going to come back big. The depreciation cliff and negative equity. Now we get to the math the auto industry intentionally ignores. Depreciation. It is a polite financial term for your car silently bleeding value while you make massive payments on it. I call it the depreciation cliff. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses about 20% of its value. Over 5 years, the average new car loses 42% of its original value. Buy a $50,000 car, and in 5 years, it's worth $29,000. For the average buyer, you are losing $4,000 to $5,000 a year just in depreciation. You are literally torching retirement money just to keep that new car smell. And this leads to a terrifying statistic. Recently, nearly 30% of all trade-ins toward new vehicles had negative equity. That means 3 out of 10 people owed more on their old car than it was actually worth. The average amount they were underwater? Over $7,000. So what do? The dealership smiles and says, "No problem, we'll just roll that into your new loan." They roll $7,000 of debt into a brand new $50,000 car, take out an 84-month loan to keep the monthly payment down, and start the cycle all over again. In 3 years, when they want a new car, they'll be $12,000 underwater. It is a self-perpetuating debt machine. Millions of Americans are paying for cars they no longer own, while borrowing money for cars that are losing value faster than they can pay them off. The psychology: selling an identity. If the math is this bad, why do people do it? Because most people don't buy cars for transportation. They buy cars for identity, and the industry knows it. That commercial of the rugged truck climbing a mountain isn't selling four-wheel drive. It's selling the fantasy that you're the kind of guy who climbs mountains, even if the most off-roading you do is parking on the grass at your kid's soccer game. People will defend their car payment with the same emotional intensity they use to defend their family. Try telling your coworker he could have bought a used Camry instead of his new F-150. Watch his reaction. He won't argue the math. He'll get defensive about his identity. The auto industry has spent decades and billions of dollars figuring out your insecurities, and they built a marketing machine to exploit them. By the time you walk into a dealership, you aren't making a financial decision. You're claiming a tribal membership, and you're paying for it with 6 years of your income. Debunking the excuses. I can already hear the objections in the comments. So let's handle the top 3 excuses people use to justify buying a brand new car. Objection number 1. I need a reliable car, and used cars break down. Wrong. AAA's recent data shows the average annual maintenance cost of a new car is about $1,300. For a well-chosen 3 to 5-year-old used car, it's $600 to $1,200. You are practically paying the same in maintenance. The unreliable used car myth is pushed by people who profit when you buy new. Objection number 2. But used cars don't have warranties.
Actually, most certified pre-owned vehicles come with manufacturer-backed warranties covering 2 to 4 additional years. Plus, extended warranties on new cars are one of the dealership's highest margin profit centers anyway. Objection number 3. I qualified for the loan so I can afford it. This is the most dangerous sentence in personal finance. The bank's only question is whether you'll make the monthly payment. They don't care if you have to eat instant ramen for 7 years. They don't care if you have to stop contributing to your 401k. Qualifying for a loan is the financial equivalent of being allowed to walk into a casino. It doesn't mean you should. The dealership traps and the final verdict. Before we wrap up, we need to talk about the final boss of buying a car, the F&I office, finance and insurance. The average dealership makes over $2,500 in pure profit per car just from the F&I office. How? By upselling you extended warranties, gap insurance, and wheel protection when you're exhausted and just want to go home. But their biggest profit engine? The interest rate markup. The bank approves you at 6%. The dealer is legally allowed to mark it up to 7 or 8% and pocket the difference. A 1% markup on a standard loan costs you roughly $1,400 in extra interest. They make $1,400 just for typing a different number into a computer. The best move you can make? Get pre-approved by your local credit union before you step on the lot. You walk in with a real rate and they can't mark you up. Let's go back to Troy and Chad. Chad took that $393 monthly difference between his used Camry and Troy's new F-150, and he invested it into a low-cost index fund every single month for 12 years. Because Chad wasn't drowning in car debt, he could afford to fund his retirement. He has a net worth of $340,000 and is on track to retire at 54. Troy has a beautiful, depreciating truck, $14,000 in savings, and will statistically be working until he is 67. Buying a smart used car is not a sacrifice.
It is a strategy. It is choosing to pay a wealth-building tax to yourself instead of a luxury tax to the dealership. Here is the one sentence I want you to take away from this video. The car you drive isn't the cost. The car you don't buy is the wealth. Troy bought a truck. Chad bought time. That's the choice. Run the math, drive safe, and I'll see you in the next one.